The key to growing your coaching business is to be more visible, to get more eyeballs on your work. But if you think about doing that and you hear things in your brain like, I'm afraid they're going to judge me, I'm afraid they're going to say no, what if they find me out? Then this episode is for you because I'm going to help you move from feeling invisible to feeling like a total expert and how to claim that authority. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of the Best Damn Coach podcast. It's Amanda here. So honored that you are joining. And here are the struggles that I think today's episode are going to help you begin to solve. So if you've ever said these things to yourself, like, man, I'm just so afraid to get in front of more people to talk about my business, or you've said something like, man, I feel like a hidden gem. If more people just knew I existed, then my business would look different. Or maybe you said something like, the market is so saturated. How am I ever going to rise above all the other people and be an authority and be credible and be the coach that people go to? And so today's episode is really helping you go from this invisible coach to this go-to expert that I want you to be and that I think you have the capacity to be, and has massively shifted my business too. I know that I've struggled with the same idea of like, man, I'm so good at what I do. I have this ability to transform lives and to help people have these massive breakthroughs, but how do I get more eyeballs on my business? And so today's theme is visibility. And this has also been a recurring theme inside of the Best Damn Coach. Something I teach, my methodology, I call it the V-squared method, is if you want to grow your business and make the impact that you desire, I have a specific framework that I teach. And that V-squared stands for a consistent value that you deliver in your business. For me, my value machine is webinars. And then you need a consistent visibility machine. And that consistent visibility machine for me is podcast guesting. And so what I want to share today is like which visibility methodology really suits you as a coach, and also why I think that you being more visible is a critical next step. So much so that I had recently a divine download that my fall retreat is exclusively devoted to this conversation. So if you feel stuck, like you're so afraid to put yourself out there, you don't know how to put yourself out there, you don't even know how to send a pitch, you don't know what to say to teach in groups to possibly elevate your authority. Maybe you want to go on TV, maybe you want to write on publications, and you have this fear of rejection, you don't know how. This entire retreat is going to be designed to have a breakthrough in your visibility. And by the end, you're going to leave with clarity on what place to be visible really fits for you, and to have total strategy and work on all the inside stuff that helps go along with this. So if that feels like you, I would love to have you at the retreat. A couple things you should know. The dates for this fall's retreat is September 29th to October 2nd here in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's about 20 minutes from the main airport that flies into Phoenix. I only have 12 spots available. Some of them are already sold out, and I would love to have you. Right now, through the end of May, I'm offering two major incentives when you join. One is $200 off your investment. We have multiple room availabilities as well. But here's the biggie. When you sign up for the retreat, you're also going to get a free ticket to BDC Live, which is April of 2026. So it's like 2 for 1, 2 live events for you to come, connect with people, get accountability, etc., which I'm going to talk about my story around pitching in just a moment. So if you're like, Amanda, I want to be at that retreat, I want to learn more, then I would love for you to head on over to amanda-walker.com/retreat. You're going to get all the information on costs, what's included. It's you get there and everything is included. So your room, we have a beautiful, luxurious Airbnb, all the meals, you're never going to do a dish. You're going to be well taken care of. So you just have creative flow and accountability and proximity to me to ask real-time questions, and a beautiful connection with other people just like they get you, right? So again, if you want more details, amanda-walker.com/retreat. There are only a few spots left. I don't want you to miss out, so don't sit on it. So I remember years ago when I was exposed to this idea that, man, I got to go get more eyeballs on my business. I need to borrow other people's audiences. And remember, I've taught this before on the podcast. There's 3 ways to grow your audience: to build an audience, to buy an audience, and to borrow an audience. And really today, when we talk visibility, that's what we're talking about, is borrowing somebody else's audience. But man, when I thought about the how, the what, I don't know how, what do I talk about? What do I say? But more importantly, the thing that really held me back was, but what if they tell me no? And I loaded it up with meeting. Like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm talking about. Was going to like already take it super personal. And so I'd set out, I'd crafted my pitches. I had this list of podcasts I was going to pitch to, and it sat and sat and sat. Because man, what, the thing that is most uncomfortable, we often resist, but it's also the one thing that is going to take us to the place that we most desire. And so I literally had to ask a friend for accountability. And I was just like, hey, I'm having a hard time doing this thing. Maybe you're having a hard time doing your thing too. Maybe we could meet on Mondays and like sit in a Zoom room together and we could say out loud what it is that we're going to do. And then we could hold each other accountable to doing it. She was like, I'm down. I'm down. So we get into Zoom, and I'm not joking. I like had everything laid out, and I hovered over the send button and hovered for like 47 minutes, almost that entire hour. I just waited. I could feel like this kind of panic and fight or flight inside me. Maybe you get what that feels like too. Like the moment you're going to go live, the moment you're going to do a story, the moment you're going to hit publish. And finally, I just freaking did it. And 2 things happened. I felt this, oh shoot moment, but also this massive sense of relief. And here's kind of what I liken it to. It's like when you go hiking on this like 4-mile trail that you've heard so much about, like it's so hard. You've heard all this stuff about this trail and like, okay, finally, I'm going to do it. And you do it the first time and it's hard. And then you go back the 8th time and the 11th time and the 15th time and it gets easier. But the thing is, the mountain didn't change. It was the same height. The hills were same. It was the same length. The thing that you developed was self-awareness around it, what to expect. And you also grew. You got stronger. And that's what I think visibility is like. You get stronger in the process. And so my hope through this episode is that I can share kind of the 4 visibility archetypes, if you will, that I see and where you might be. And by the end of the episode, you're going to know your visibility style and be able to start to move the needle and then come to the retreat. And that's where like we can go deeper. That's where you're going to actually be able to craft pitches with me in real time. My operations manager, Tina, is going to be there. She's going to sit with you personally and help you make sure you have a workflow to track whatever way you're going to be pitching yourself. I have a special guest who's going to help you know more about yourself to move away the visibility blocks. And you're going to have me there the full 3 nights, 4 days to keep the momentum going. I think let's talk about the problems actually that most coaches face. And that is, 1, they try to do it just like somebody else. They're like, I'm just going to copy what's working for this person. And I think there's beauty in that. I'm going to give you my framework. I'm going to give you scripts for pitches. I'm going to show you what's worked for me. But the best and most effective visibility strategies are when you like take that through your filter and make it your own. I think another reason coaches struggle is they're trying to do all the things in all the places and they're exhausted from showing up everywhere. That is not what you need to do to be visible. I think the other reason that coaches struggle is because of what we talked about, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection. If I go on this podcast and somebody like hears me, I think they're going to find me out. And that's not true. But I think there's a massive cost if you're not being more visible. Here is a statistic I'm going to share with you that's going to like smack you in the face. And that is this: 87% of coaches fail in the first 2 years of starting their coaching business. And one of the main reasons this happens is because they don't have enough visibility. They're not growing their network. They don't get more eyeballs on their business. So therefore, it leads to no clients. So if you just put your offer together right now and you start talking about it to the people who are in front of you, that's not enough. And so there's this ripple effect, right? That I think is also a cost. If you're not visible, then the people out there that actually need you aren't getting you. There are potential clients who need you right now. So if you're not getting more visible, then you're never going to meet those people and put yourself in places where they can see you. And I think this has happened so much. I have talked to so many coaches that are like have been doing this thing for a couple years. And here's what one of our students recently said. She's like, Amanda, I've been working on my business since 2019. And I came into your world and the BDC specifically, which we focus on visibility consistently. We have an entire month, a theme focused around this. And she's like, I have had more traction in 90 days focusing on this. She saw it in her social media followers. She saw it in her momentum, her confidence, but also in her clients. And so for me, this is the hidden cost about what not being visible is doing for you. And I think that here's the frame that I shift, or the mindset shift, is many of you, the reason you're not being visible is you're actually making it about you. What if I get rejected? What if people judge me? What am I going to say? Here's the thing. When we flip it to service and we think about the people sitting on the backside of this camera as I'm speaking right now, and you can see me on YouTube, like you right there need me. And I have to anchor myself in that. And I encourage you to really think about that as we dive into the 4 types of visibility styles. So these are my visibility ideas. This is kind of what I see based on the strengths of my students and coaches that I've worked with. And I think this is also the key, and what's going to make you successful is not all visibility strategies are one and the same. You are a unique human. And what's going to make this work is actually leaning in to you. And so if it doesn't feel like you, then it's not going to be a long game strategy. So here we go. Okay. So visibility style number 1, I call it like the super connector. This person thrives in more deep one-on-one connections. And so this person does a really good job with intimacy. So they want to like have DMs and conversations, even using their voice. And so they maybe tend to lean into email or intimate workshops. And so this type of visibility style is really this like more intimate. I think I said the super connector and I meant the intimate connector. They want to reach out on a personal basis and have one-on-one conversations like coffee chats. If they went into a networking room, they wouldn't really necessarily want to talk to the whole room, but they would want to schedule something with one person and go deep and not wide. They want to be in rooms that are small, not rooms of hundreds or thousands. And so that might really ring true for you. And so I think when it comes to visibility for this person, it's finding ways to maintain that level of intimacy. And that could mean podcast pitching is great for you because you get to sit one-on-one and have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, and you get to go really deep with them. And that then gets broadcast to their audience, right? So I call this the intimate connector. Style number 2 is the inspirational teacher. This person loves educating and breaking down really complex concepts for people. I think some of their platforms, like with social media, are going to be more teaching. This is probably me. Podcasting, webinars. This is me. I want to be teaching you something. I'm also an intimate connector. I prefer to record, but I love to get to be guests on podcasts so that I can teach. But here's something that I also love and is really valuable for me. People that are inspirational teachers and love that visibility style, they love to teach in small rooms, in intimate rooms. Like I'll go step on a stage and do a keynote in front of 1,000 people, but actually where I shine is like a room of less than 100, where I can teach, I can have that one-to-one intimate conversation. I can teach, and then I can have them implement and workshop. And so for me, when I think about visibility, it's I'm flying to retreat to teach soon. I have another retreat that I'll be teaching in late summer. The rooms are going to be about 15 people in size. That is perfect. That's where I thrive. But here's the thing. Now I'm in front of 15 new people. I've borrowed that person's audience. So that is style number 2. Style number 3, I call this the community builder. They are energized by bringing people together. And so, or being in big rooms. And so this person's like best social platforms, I think, are typically Facebook groups. You probably have one, or like a circle group or some sort of membership site or something like that. Their strength is creating a movement, bridging the gap for big for groups. And so I think a person that is more of a community builder loves visibility through networking groups. So they want to be in all the networking calls. They want to go attend all the live retreats, or I'm sorry, live events. For me, that is like so energetically draining. But for you, that might be like, yes, going and meeting people and getting out there, but then that needs to be consistent strategy for you. So you see where I'm going here? It's what is my strength? What fills me up? What energizes me? And how do I go do more of that to get more eyeballs on my business? And the last type of visibility style, I'm going to call it the storyteller, the creative storyteller. This person typically shines through just telling stories that are highly engaging and evoke emotion. And they might use things like other publications because they're really good at writing or just engaging. So they could verbalize that. So they might go on a podcast and share it. But I think this person also is really great at potentially maybe pitching to be in other publications or guest blogging or something like that, where they can really create an amazing hook and storyline, or co-authoring or something like that. And I think that the storyteller does a really good job in writing. And so if that's somebody for, like you, where you're like, I don't necessarily want to speak on stages, but man, give me like a blog to write, then this is fantastic. So the strength for this person is they make connections through vulnerability and giving really detailed storytelling descriptions. So again, 4 kind of visibility types: the intimate connector, the inspirational teacher, the community builder, and the creative storyteller. So as you think about these visibility styles, you could think like, wow, which one speaks to me the most? Because at the retreat, what we're going to be doing is figuring out what makes sense for us. How do we know ourselves? If I've been sitting on pitching a podcast for 6 months and I haven't done it because something's holding me back, and you realize, wait, I'm actually way better at writing. Maybe the idea here is I need to write on publications like Medium or Business Insider, or, some health publication or something. And you have this aha, then we're going to craft a strategy that makes sense for you. But here's the thing, you don't have to be all these people and you don't have to be in all these places. And so as I shared that, what I'd love for you to think about right now is, which one of these were you like, oh, that's me, right? Where do you feel most natural sharing your message? That is key. And it could be a combination, which it is for me. Love being on podcasts, love being in intimate rooms. Those for me are where I thrive. So I'm actually not spending time pitching to writing publications. Writing is not my strong point. That's why I have a podcast. And I don't feel guilt or FOMO or anything like that, because I know my voice is the best, most powerful thing I have. And I'm way more confident with a couple bullet points like I am right now, and showing up and doing my thing, talking. So let's talk about what to do with that. Okay, you got your style. So let's talk about kind of this layered approach to visibility that I like to teach. Number 1, it's selecting your platform. Like, what am I going to do? Based on that style of visibility that I talked about, is like, what are the things then that I'm going to do? So if you are that person that's that intimate connector and you're like podcast pitching, that's how I'm going to borrow somebody's audience. Then first step is identifying. That is your visibility machine. Okay. Step 2 is now starting to think of, how do I leverage that? So the question that we want to ask ourselves is, what would I say on these podcasts? What are kind of the main 2 to 3 talking points, beliefs, themes of my content that I am just so passionate about? That's hopefully not what everybody else is saying, by the way, that I can go out and pitch to and talk about. So 1, what's the platform? 2, what am I going to say? Number 3 is crafting the pitch, the pitching strategy, I should say. It's not just simple as just randomly sending somebody a pitch. At the retreat, I'm going to be going over in depth the whole process, which really warms up and you nurture. It's relationship building at its finest, because there's nothing more icky, because I get them all the time of just being like, I listen to your podcast, get me on your show. That's not what it's about at all, by the way. And there's a long game strategy to this. And there's also warm people in your network that are probably ready for you to begin to show yourself and to be more visible. So your platform, what you're going to talk about, developing a pitching strategy for whatever it is, whether it's writing, doing IG lives, being on podcasts, going to networking events, whatever. And fourth is the consistency, right? Now what happens is this isn't just a one and done. This is, how do I weave this into my weekly work so that I'm pitching at least 2 podcasts a week? I'm pitching 2 publications. I'm attending 2 networking events a week, whatever the case is. It's truly turning it into a machine. And so that's really kind of that 4 pieces, or the layers that for me, it's in my brain, it's kind of 4 layers really when I talk it through with you. But we kind of hit the first one there in identifying what your platform is going to be. But I think the biggest mistakes, just to like reaffirm those, are trying to be visible everywhere. It's not necessary. Perfection paralysis. It does not have to be perfect. I'll use as such a fine example. Shout out to Ellen Yin of Cubicle to CEO podcast. It's a really big podcast. I pitched Ellen and her team, and she came back to me and was like, hey, look, thanks so much for pitching, but that's not actually the style of episode. Here's what we're actually looking for in a pitch. I could have cried and thought how embarrassing. And instead, what I was like, all right, well, I'm going to show back up. Even if she says no, I'm going to re-pitch under her, like what they're looking for. And so I simply replied like, hey, thank you so much for just like teaching me instead of just giving me a no. I would love to reframe my pitch and see if it's a good fit. And I reframed it, and they came back and were like, actually, we're interested in this. And so don't worry about making it perfect. In fact, for me, that is a turnoff. I want to like see the imperfection and the humanness. And the other thing is just like doing this. The other mistake is not having a long-term strategy, which is something we're going to be doing at the retreat. Is you're going to leave with a 90-day plan. And that's going to be so powerful, because inconsistent implementation of this is not going to be effective. If you pitch to 5 podcasts and then 4 months go by, then what? Like, you're not going to get a yes from every podcast or every publication, or, really align with every networking group, right? The idea here is consistency over everything. And I want to give like just a shout out to a few of our BDC members that have been doing this. Shout out to Sally. Sally literally had never been on a podcast before. She's used this strategy consistently. She decided that podcasting would be the best. She serves moms who kind of live in chaos and want to create organization and calm in their week. She has an amazing job with this. And she just dropped into our group that she did her first episode several weeks ago, did a second episode, and I think it was this week specifically, as I'm recording this, she had 3 episodes scheduled. And so I teach you how to kind of find the low-hanging fruit and then create that consistency. Right? And if I think about it in general, it's like when I survey my audience, so many of the clients I have didn't discover me through my podcast. You might be listening to and didn't discover me. You heard me on somebody else's show. And that's such a model and an example of how borrowing somebody else's audience can be just invaluable. And not only in the strategy, but you guys, like, I just feel so in my purpose. I feel like I don't have a block. Like, I feel like I could go on any podcast and show up with authority. And that's because I overcame my 47-minute hover of just hitting send. And then it became easier and easier. So I want you to know, if you are here to do this thing and be seen in a bigger way, if you are here to make greater impact, if you are here because you're done playing small, then the retreat would be such a powerful place for you to be, because I'm going to be there in real time. I will be the person there with you live, waiting for you to hit send. We will rip the Band-Aid off together. And what's cooler is you're going to leave with a strategy, your pitches for whatever platform you think is visible or great. You're going to have a workflow, and we're going to do all this internal stuff to move any blocks out of the way. So you leave feeling confident. You leave feeling like you have momentum. And this is like what I'm so pumped about. And it's just going to be freaking awesome because we're going to do all these fun things too. There's lots of surprises. So again, the retreat is in Scottsdale, Arizona, my hometown-ish, September 29th through October 2nd of 2025, an intimate group of less than 12 coaches. And you're going to leave with so much value. And right now, 2 special bonuses that are through the end of May 31st, $200 off your investment. You can use the code. Let me make sure I give you the code. It'll be in the show notes. I think it's retreat 200 to get that off, all spelled out, by the way. And then you're going to get a free ticket to BDC Live, which is April of 2026. So, and if you're curious about the retreat and you have more questions, just come send me a DM at my Instagram handle, awalkmyway. And I can send you more details. I can answer any questions. I am happy to even hop on the phone if you have questions. So again, what visibility style makes like the most sense for you? And my final thought is your people need what you have to offer, but they can't find you if you're hiding. And I want to change that with you. And the retreat is going to be a magical place for you to do that. So until then, go coach them up. And if this episode landed for you, if you feel like it really deeply resonates, I always appreciate a share. Share it in the stories, tag me, share it with a friend. And I'll see you guys next week.